it's almost the start of the season now. How excited are you? I bet you can't wait to get going.
Yeah, can't wait. Especially when you have days like this and you're talking about rugby. I love it. I could talk about rugby all day, and it's been a long pre-season. We've been talking about how many weeks left every single week in training, trying to make the most of all the time we've got together, because we know it's going to be tough. The bar's going to be raised again this year. It's going to be really competitive, but we're ready. We just can't wait for that first game.
You've been at the forefront of trying to grow the sport, the women's game. How pleased are you that it's at the level that it is now and it's growing as quickly as it is?
Yeah, I joke all the time, but I've got sort of 3-4 different hats in terms of rugby league, and honestly, even just as a fan, just to see all the opportunities now that young girls have, how it's growing across the country is brilliant. Obviously, I'm lucky that that's my job as well, so trying to put lots of programs in place to make sure that all barriers are taken down for young girls who want to play, and that we make sure that every girl or woman who wants to play the game, no matter where they are in the country, have the opportunity to. We've got the national pyramid that'll come into place next year. We've got Women's Super League South, we've got a Midlands competition that'll be launching this year, as well as a Northern competition. So yeah, wherever you are in the country now, you can access Women's Rugby League, and we're developing that across the girls game as well. We've got the Rugby's programme, which we launched today, which is great. So that's targeted at 7 to 11-year-old girls. Just we've got the mixed playing offer, and that's great, but not perfect for everyone. And we want to make sure there's an environment that's specific for girls and gives them the best opportunity to thrive in the game and come and be twice the player that I've ever been and absolutely kill it for England. So yeah, it's an exciting time for Women and Girls Rugby League.
How important was that? Was a successful World Cup? It wasn't successful as you didn't go all the way, but it was brilliant to get all the way to the semi-finals, to play the professional teams from the Southern Hemisphere. How important was that for the young girls in the country?
Yeah, you're right, and I think the way you termed that then, it was successful. It's successful off the field, and I think we did ourselves proud on the field as well. And for me, that World Cup was huge, and getting to the final and lifting the trophy was obviously that was the goal. That's what we wanted to do, and I actually started to believe we were going to do it, and I think quite a lot of people did with the way we performed. It wasn't to be, but I think the number of young girls who were inspired by that tournament, the number of fans that I think are now aware of the women's game, brand new fans to the sport of rugby league who have fell in love with it because of what England women did in that tournament and the wheelchair game, I think it's really exciting time to hopefully engage those fans. We've got a mid-season or early season international coming up, and it's an opportunity for them to actually get down, support and see live some of the England women's team and the men's team who've inspired them across the World Cup, see them in action again. So yeah, it was hard to take that World Cup. I was pretty down for a long time, but I had to rephrase how I thought we did in that World Cup to make sure that success was measured on what we did off the field as well as on it.
So going round to St Helens now.
Yeah.
How's the pre-season been? How the team feeling after the pre-season and going into the start of the season?
We're feeling good. We've got a lot of changes. So new coach, Deck Hardman, has moved on, and he's took on the reserves role at St Helens. So he's still around. He's still there. He still checks in on us at training. But Matty Smith obviously coming on as our head coach, and he's been brilliant. Breath of fresh air, and just brought loads to our attacking game. Obviously, as a halfback, he's got so much knowledge in that area, and it's been brilliant. And I'm excited for him to get a chance to sort of put all his work into action when we play our first game. We've got a friendly this weekend, so we'll be able to try a few things. But yeah, lots of young girls that are going to be stepping up this year for us. We've lost a couple for retirement, a couple of different reasons. Obviously, Amy Hardcastle going to Leeds, so we've lost some experience, but we've got lots of exciting young girls who I think are going to step up to the plate.
And you've got a very difficult game coming up against York,
yes.
Away.
Yes.
How are your thoughts going into that one?
You know what? I'd say 80% of the talk in pre-season has been about that game. We're not thinking past that. I think if we can get a good performance out and hopefully a result against York, it'll put us in a really good place for the rest of the season. So a lot of our talk has been about that game, about how strong York are, where we went wrong last time. So obviously it's York away, and when we played York away last year, I think they bullied us a little bit. They really dominated in that game. It was a close scoreline, but we definitely felt like we didn't perform like we should have done in that game. So we need to fix up a lot of those things that went wrong in that game and make sure we come ready for a battle because I'm 100% confident they're going to bring it to us in that first game.
Now, I've asked everyone else. It comes to game day.
Yes.
Have you got anything that you have to go through? Any superstitions, traditions, anything that you need to do in the build up to a game?
You know what? I don't have too many superstitions. I probably have some of the more practical things. I'm a massive overpacker, so all the girls will have a rucksack. I've got a massive hold all. So because I'm really forgetful, I'll literally have spares of everything in there. So yeah, I've got everything you could possibly think you might need on a match day all sorted. So it frees up my headspace. I like to be quite chilled right up until basically you come back in and you put your kit on. So we always get there really early, an hour and a half early. So I'll go out, I'll check the pitch out, check the in-goal out, see how big, small it is, because they vary quite a lot at different grounds, so that can make quite an impact depending on which teams you're playing. And then I'm sort of quite jovial, music on, having a dance, and then as soon as the kit's on, that's like refocus mind time. So nothing too specific, but more it's sort of that general rhythm that I flow throughout the sort of build up to the game, and then it's game time. Hero pose before you go out, feeling confident, ready to go.
And what are Saints' aims for this season? What do you want to do?
Yeah, it's a tough one, that, because the obvious answer is do the treble. You know, win all the trophies, lift all the trophies. But for me, I want to be part of all the big games. I think the opportunities that we get now when you're playing in those big games with crowds and, you know, being live across all the various broadcast channels, I think that's massive, and they're opportunities that we can't miss out on. So we need to make sure we get to those big games, so we perform in the semi-finals and we don't let anything slip. So I think we lost a few games last year that we should have won, that arguably cost us being part of that grand final. And so for me, it's making sure that we don't do that. We're 100% focused. We take every single game as it comes to make sure that we're in all of the finals, especially Wembley. I mean, the chance to walk out of Wembley, literally, I get butterflies just thinking about how important that is to me. And then, you know, once we get there, I back the girls to perform when it matters. I think when the pressure's on, you get the best out of our Saints group. So yeah, I think get to the final and then let's see what happens.